This is where it all ends. For too many years, I've let you torture me, Liam Neeson's The Gray. Too many people have given you praise for your so called heart pumping action, your quote unquote fleshed out characters, your philosophical subtext. Well, I don't care what you got right. Doesn't matter. You've torched my expectations and buried my dreams. I can never forgive you for making me hate a Liam Neeson movie before it became the norm. What? Give you a chance! Review you and prove that you're not as bad as I think you are? I guess that would be fair. Plus, that would give me the opportunity to prove to everyone you're not as great as you're made out to be. Alright, DVD box, I accept your challenge. This is The Gray. So the main gist of the plot is that up in the frozen wastelands of Alaska, a group of men that work for an oil company are boarding a plane to return back home from this isolated drill site, and among them is Liam Neeson, who plays a professional marksman hired to shoot any wolves attempting to hurt any employees that are out in the open. I know the character has a name, but let's face it, no matter what movie he's in or role he plays, you're always just going to think of him as Liam Neeson. Anyway, during the flight, the plane crashes, killing most of the men except for 8 of them, including Neeson. It becomes real apparent real fast that the party is stranded in the middle of nowhere in the freezing cold with very few resources, and if that wasn't bad enough, they soon find out they're dead center in the middle of wolf territory. So now the crew has to try and find their way across the tundra and back into civilization before the ravenous wolves kill them all. Now that's an interesting setup, and that can promise a lot. So I'm interested in seeing what it brought to the table. Okay, so like every movie, there are actually some good things to talk about here. Right off the bat, I can say the setting is beautiful. The establishing shots of the Alaskan wilderness are gorgeous to look at, and overall, the cinematography is pretty damn good. The actors are all good. They play the parts they're supposed to play and play them to the best of their abilities. And as much as I can rag on Liam Neeson for playing the same role over and over, I do have to say that here he plays that role in a more convincing way than some of his other roles. I think it might be the fact that we learn little about the guy, which makes us interested in him, but we're not force-fed his entire backstory. We're given just enough to make us actually want more. The most important thing they did well was making the sense of danger feel real. From beginning to end, you really feel the struggle and drive for survival these men are going through. The threats are real, and you're kept on the edge of your seat wondering how or even if they'll make it out of this. And finally, for a movie that's essentially Liam Neeson versus wolves, it handles the prospect in a relatively grounded and serious way, as opposed to the more campy alternative that this could have been. And it's really interesting how everyone dies, including Neeson. Not many action films go that route, and despite whether you like it or not, everyone should recognize what a bold and somewhat respectable way that it is for a director to go. Philosophy, while I feel not explored to the fullest, is one that I myself find extremely intriguing. The thought of knowing you're going to die but just accepting it and pushing forward until your death is an idea that brings a lot of the film together. The poem repeated throughout ties in perfectly, as well as the end scene with Neeson's character coming to grips with his inevitable death and going out fighting. The film is overall well acted, well shot, and well directed. Ha! You wish that was all I thought. To begin with, I find myself being taken out of the thrilling and exciting aspect of the film whenever I see a scene where I think the wolves could have already killed them. Like the one scene where they were out in the open before they got to the forest and all those wolves were out there. I'm not an expert on wolf hunting patterns or whatever, but I just find it hard to believe that a pack of at least 30 wolves wouldn't just simply overpower a small group of men that possess little to nothing in the form of defense. Next, the characters. I was shocked to see how many people thought these characters were quote unquote fleshed out. They're about as fleshed out as rotting flamingos' corpses. We barely know anything about them. Hell, half the time I forgot their names. At least with Neeson's character, he has more going for him, but the supporting cast has almost nothing for us to latch on to. All they have is a character quirk, if some of them even have that. and a small trivia fact about them with little nuances here and there. A lot of the time, instead of finding these things out about these guys, we're just spoon-fed a lot of it all at once. The worst culprit is the black guy character, Bert. He barely talks at all, and what little backstory we're given about him is told from someone else, and in the very next scene, he's dead. That perfectly illustrates that everyone here is just death fodder until we get to the one scene everyone in the world wanted to see. Oh yeah, you know what I'm talking about. The one scene they played up big time in all the trailers, the number one selling point for this film that got people to buy tickets in the first place. The final scene of the movie where Neeson actually fights the wolf. The whole movie's been building up to this point. They've been constantly alluding to it, and it's what we've been wanting to see since this piece of shit started. And guess what happens? Right as Liam Neeson and the wolf charge at each other, the film ends. The credits roll, and the one thing we wanted to see more than anything else gets cut. Are you fucking joking? You built up this crazy fight between a savage wolf and one of the most popular action stars at the time, tease us with it, and not even give us the payoff. I don't care if it would have looked goofy or faked. You promised it. You have to give us something. This one scene completely ruins anything the movie had going for it. Literally anything good has been tarnished by this ending. And you might be thinking to yourself, it's not that bad. The idea of the movie is to accept death. It's trying to get across an idea bigger than the action, and the idea should move you more than a gruesome battle between an aging Irish badass and a savage alpha wolf.
So, okay, that sucks. But I can accept that. That's at least as bad as it gets, right?
Nope. They drive about 10 more nails in the coffin after the credits with a post-credit scene of Liam Neeson and the wolf lying side by side each other and subtle breathing heaves that allude to one of them still being alive. Fuck that shit.
So you mean to tell me I sat through this pretentious piece of shit, waiting on the edge of my seat to see the beginning and the end of a fight?
It wasn't enough you had to dash my hopes. You had to rub it in my face that I missed something awesome. Oh, wait. No. It wasn't just rubbing something in my face. You were slowly slicing me with a box cutter, and then pouring acid in the wound, and then stitching me up with a staple gun. Say something, damn you! Why is it every Rocky movie can deliver on a fight and you can't? Even the shitty ones! Why is it every Godzilla movie can deliver a memorable fight and you can't even give us 2 seconds of a payoff? Why is it that even Batman vs. Superman was able to give us something of the fight that they promised and you can't? You fucking tease! Prepare to make peace with your God. In the Nether Realm!